The World Health Organization is warning Uganda's neighbors to prepare as the country's Ebola outbreak spreads into the capital, Kampala. Almost 3 weeks ago, the Ugandan president declared a lockdown in 2 districts, including this one. Here, you see the Ugandan health minister visiting a brand new Ebola treatment unit. You can see here how cases and deaths have been rising since the outbreak began in September. The Ugandan Health Ministry reports at least 49 people have died. There have been 131 confirmed cases, 17 of those in Kampala. Well, joining me now, Uganda's Minister of Information and former Health Minister, Chris Baryomunsi. Minister, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us here on the show. Let me begin really with the tweet that I saw in the last 30 minutes or so from the President of Uganda. If we can bring up the tweet, I just want to read it out to our viewers. Regarding the Ebola situation, first of all, there will be no lockdown. Therefore, people should go ahead and concentrate on their work without worry. However, we should be more vigilant and observe the SOPs put in place to control the Ebola spread. Can you clarify for us, Minister, whether he's referring here to Kampala only?
Yes, we announced a lockdown in the 2 districts of Kasanda and Mubende, which are about 200 kilometers west of Kampala. And there have been fears among the residents of Kampala whether we shall announce a lockdown. And what the president means is that there will be no lockdown in Kampala, although we have got confirmed cases of 18 confirmed cases, and all the contacts have been put under quarantine. We have strengthened the surveillance and contact tracing, so Kampala will not be put under lockdown, as the president is communicating.
So there will be no lockdown in Kampala, and you just told me that those, in terms of confirmed cases in Kampala, we're now at 18, not 17. Is that correct, Minister?
Yes, 18, and all the contacts have been quarantined. Some have even completed the 21 days, so there is no cause for big alarm.
What about the 2 districts that you mentioned? I think we have a map to show. You were saying how close it is to Kampala. That's Mubende and Kasanda, because those were locked down. Are those going to be lifted either today or tomorrow? I think it's 21 days tomorrow. Is that still expected to be lifted tomorrow?
Yes, the days end tomorrow, 21 days end tomorrow. We are recommending that we extend the lockdown, but we are yet to sit with the president and agree. But our recommendation as technical people is that we should extend the lockdown because we still see cases, especially in the Kasanda district. But we shall announce after consulting the president.
So you're recommending that be extended in Mubende and Kasanda. Just talk to us how worrying the situation is in the region.
No, it's not worrying. The epicenter, like we have said, is in those 2 districts of Kasanda and Mubende, and we've been able to control the spread, although there are some sporadic clusters of 1 case, 2 cases in some few other districts, but the situation has been put under control. And we have strong teams on the ground that are doing the surveillance, that are tracing the contacts, and the situation has been put under control. There is no big cause for worry, and we hope in the coming months we should be able to declare Ebola over in Uganda.
No cause for worry, but you are recommending that the lockdown be extended. On those people working on the ground, where are we, Minister, on infected healthcare workers?
Yes, we got infections among health workers, especially at the beginning of the outbreak. And since then, we have strengthened the protection, and we have treatment centers, and it's no longer a very big problem because we have adequate PPEs. The protection gear is enough for the health workers, and so the problem was largely at the beginning of the outbreak, but not at the moment.
Large at the beginning of the outbreak, but from my understanding, from my notes, I see 6 healthcare workers have died. Is that correct? Is that correct, Minister?
Yes, you know, at the beginning, the health workers didn't know there was an Ebola problem. And there are some patients who were operated without adequate protection. So those who died are those who handled Ebola cases before we had confirmed that there was an Ebola outbreak. But since then, there has been a significant decline in terms of infections among health workers.
So, okay, so we're still at 6 healthcare workers who have died from what you were telling me, Minister. Just explain to our viewers, though, Minister, around the world, why this outbreak in particular has proved more difficult to deal with compared with recent epidemics.
Well, first of all, as you know, there are many strains of the Ebola virus. We are dealing with Ebola Sudan. You know, we also have Ebola Zaire, which has a vaccine, but this time we are dealing with Ebola Sudan. And we have not yet traced the index case because we have no history of somebody traveling from where an epidemic is and is coming to Uganda. We suspect it could have come from the mining communities within Mubende. And I think we are controlling it because it would have been worse than where we are. But we have already confirmed 131 cases, and there are many recoveries. Up to 61 cases have recovered. We have a case fatality rate of 43%. So it's not alarming. And we have a robust healthcare system on the ground, which is handling the situation.
And Minister, last week I think we heard there were going to be 3 vaccines for trial. You can correct me if I'm wrong there. What stage are we with those?
Yes, as you know, there are vaccines which have been on trial for the Ebola Sudan. And I want to thank WHO and the USAID and other partners. We received samples of the vaccines which we are trying now on the population here in Uganda. And it's one of the additional efforts that is helping us contain this outbreak.
So you've already started these?
Yes, we are in the process of starting.
Understood. Minister, do keep us posted on any developments, of course. Wish you the best of luck, and obviously do keep us posted on any developments that may happen. Thank you very much, Minister. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.